anytime I need any information having to do with like Venezuela, I know I got to go see what Max has to say.
Yeah, it's
like,
good.
Whatever, Max, Aaron, Ben, any of those guys, or and lest I forget Anya, because we have to have the estrogen in there. But
she's like at me, she doesn't like me. She's
Anya how is that possible?
So when the channel was shut down, I got a lot of requests for interviews. It was like all at once. A lot of people wanted to talk about the censorship stuff because it was.
We're going to get into that. Really, yeah. Okay, go on.
Ridiculous. It was so over the top, and my channel isn't like on Full Lives. We have the fights, right? We have some people call in. We have the fights. Each of us have our positions. All of us are pretty strong on whatever we believe in.
Yeah.
But that's not the same thing as people screaming that the COVID vaccine killed Hey Aaron. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the same. It's just not the channel. And I put up a video on, I think it was Sidney Powell. And it was Sidney Powell being utterly ridiculous. And I was using that video as a reference video to show kind of like, Donald Trump should be impeached. This woman should be sued. And it was basically that. It was like showing that, yeah, he should be impeached and making the argument for it. They shut the video down and shut the site down while the site was in action. And they basically made the argument that you are putting up spam or deceptive material. And mind you, this is a week after they had shut the channel down, saying I was putting out harmful material. And then they came back and said, okay, our bad. We were being too over the top.
But this wasn't just you, obviously. So talk a little bit about when this went down. And I don't think people realize the depth of the censorship problem that we're really having right now. I don't think people really understand what's going on. I'm a First Amendment absolutist, basically. Unless somebody is calling for imminent threats or violence, I'm pretty much let it fly. That's just me. But so would you explain like when this all started getting really bad and like that it was other channels too? It's not just you.
So there were several purges over the course of several years for the standpoint of YouTube. Some of the pressure came from mainstream media because some of the advertising dollars were basically being sucked away into YouTube. And when those advertising dollars being sucked away, mainstream media got pissy about it. CNN started writing stories about white nationalists being on YouTube and being able to have a platform. They even include Jimmy Dore on that one. I don't know if you remember that one. They included Dore.
I do, and everyone knows I'm not a Jimmy fan, but again, I support free speech all completely. So
yeah, right. But it was just funny that they were including it with the white nationalist thing, almost trying to create this kind of dichotomy on both sides. And yeah, over the last month or so, Dore he's jumped the shark, let me tell it. But
and to hear you say that is amazing to me because you've always been pretty supportive and a fan. Like back in the old days, like you were always.
I mean, I don't hate the guy. It's not anything. It's not anything malicious or anything. I just thought that what took place with the forced to vote thing was way beyond the pale. I don't think.
You mean how he acted?
Yes. Because look, I don't have an issue with being aggressive and going after your politicians. You should make your politicians should represent your interests.
Absolutely.
But there's a difference between, I have a point of view about a tactic and you have a point of view about a tactic. And I disagree with your point of view. And the moment that I disagree with your point of view about a tactic, you call me a sellout. You say I'm standing in the way of Medicare for all, which is utterly ridiculous and disingenuous on its face. That the person is, just working in the interest of a man and all of this. And it's like, this is one of the few people who have some level of accessibility to the left and puts herself out there for that level of accessibility. And the attacks were just vitriolic.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing. It was aggressive. And, and now he's kind of mocking that was called violent. And what's interesting to me, and I am not someone, I never play like the sexism card. I don't find people overly misogynistic. I can take a joke. Like I'm not over woke by any stretch, but the way he addressed AOC directly, I thought came off very violent. And not in a way where I would think she'd be scared of being hurt by Jimmy Dore. I mean, that's not what I think, but it's just, I just think it's unnecessary to talk that way. I think it's counterproductive. I think it doesn't do anything. It's alienating one of the few allies that we actually do have. And what does that serve?
It's alienating. It's toxic. It's all hell. It
Yes.
creates division in and of itself. Meaning you have to work between the lines when you try to get things accomplished. It's like you can't necessarily do everything you want. Also, there's something to be said about whether or not working with Movement for a People's Party influences the point of view of the individual. Meaning, if you need people to leave the Democratic Party, then you need to take a scorched earth path and try to get people to leave, even if you have to be disingenuous and pushing, in a particular way. All that stuff came to mind. It just seems so over the top, so toxic, and it wasn't even something that was bringing people together. If anything, the way it was being put was driving people apart. I mean,
Yeah.
Breonna Joygray, poor woman, was out there trying to fight for force the vote and
Yeah.
kept running into door. Like every time she tried to make an argument, somebody just picked up hit her in the face with door.
Yeah.
And it's like she's like, look, I'm not making this argument about door. It's like, yeah, dude, but he the one that started the argument for the force to vote. And when it became toxic like that, it was hard to get away from it. Like Sam Cedar, for example. Sam Cedar can't stand door. And he was, I remember when Force the Vote initially first came out, he was like, okay, well, it's not a bad idea.
He supported it. He supported it.
And then when it got toxic, oh man, he flipped in a heartbeat. And, I never changed my point of view of Force the Vote. I thought it was a magnificent idea. It's like, yeah, you should. You should max the stuff out. You should push for that stuff. Yeah. I mean, look at Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin was like, cutthroat. Yeah, I'm not voting for it. Period. Go kick rocks. I don't care.
Yeah.
And he was willing to do that. I mean, if you have people who are willing to stand by their principles on that level, mind you, it wasn't principle. It was his daughter that seemed to be the issue, but I don't care. I like the fact that he put a knife in the air tangent. Yeah. But that was.
We don't care why he said no to Niratandan. We just like that he said no to Niratandan.
No, yeah, right.
I don't care why. And what's funny, the thing that he was not liking her is probably one of the few things that's remotely amusing about her.
Yeah, this is actually pretty funny. But yeah, I thought the force to vote was a great idea. I thought how it was put was not, and it's like it's political messaging.
Yeah.
And you have to put political messaging sometimes in a particular way. And being, screaming at the height of your lungs, swearing at the height of your lungs, alienating the people because basically the people who you're attacking, it's the opposite of trying to get people together. And not just the opposite. It's like you are hitting somebody who you will need to articulate the policies that you're talking about that you want. Like, like Joe Manchin is not going to put through Medicare for all. AOC would. And so it's like, there has to be a line somewhere between this notion of push versus being ridiculous. I do think allies should be treated differently than I think enemies should be treated. And, me disliking something that a member of Congress does, it's not the same thing as me thinking the person is a sellout. That's just shallow thinking.
Exactly.
I don't know. I didn't like what took place on that.
I just found it very counterproductive. Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.